What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I haven't been doing videos. I've been trying to get my channel and my videos looking better, and just get my setup a little better and more, I don't know, inviting, friendly, whatever, I don't know. But anyways, I'm back, and this is going to be another AMC update video. And at the end of this video, I'm going to also talk about one other stock that I think has got some potential here going forward relatively soon. So let's get right into it. Today with AMC, obviously beautiful day, 8.66% in the green. There's only a few things I really want to point out. As far as the short interest and everything, we can do it real quick, but I'm sure it's something you guys have heard a million times already today. The short interest is currently just under 19%, just under 97 million shares, and free float on loan of 23.16% with the utilization of 91.5%. Now, the only thing I really want to point out here is, as far as the estimated short interest goes, we're pretty much topped out, as high as we've ever been. The highest it's ever been is 100.469 million, so 100.5 million shares, and we are currently at 96.8. so I am not too sure how many of these shares on loan, of the 118 million shares on loan, are actually available to short, because we have never, other than one day, we have never been above 100 million shares shorted, and that was back on April 27th, which is an absurdly high amount of shares, considering that the shares outstanding was much lower back then. But I think that we're awfully close to, within days of a monster move. I think they're pretty much tapped out. I think had they actually shorted those 10 million shares that we saw last Friday borrowed, we would have not seen the movement we've seen over the past 2 days. There's no way that they actually shorted 10 million shares. And if they did, then they're in big trouble. That's all I got to say about the short interest. Just, cost to borrow going up, days to cover going up. Everything's trending up, and we're, like I said, pretty much topped out on the short interest as far as much as we've ever had. This trend that we're in now is absolutely gorgeous. A couple things to point out here, fairly simple. This move right here of the last 4 days, we have seen this move right here. The same thing. We saw this move right here, the exact same thing, and we pretty much saw the same move right here. It just took a little bit more time, right? So every one of these instances, except for this first one, which we were still establishing the base, still establishing support and turning around, ever since we've turned around, this move here, let me just delete these, you guys can see that picture, you see what I'm talking about there. So this move here, first one of the actual uptrend, the day after it retested the level that the dip started, it shot up pretty big. This move here, same thing. This green candle bar, the day after it tested the level it was at before it dipped down, it shot up to the next level. Well, here's on this one here, we have no next level until in the 50s. This 48 to 53 range, 52ish range, there has not been any trading in this range at all, other than just passing through. We passed through on the way down, we passed through on the way up, we passed through, and passed through. We have never really traded in this $48 to $52 range, $53 range. So one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to shoot up right past it and just trade above it, or we may see a couple bounces back and forth within it, but I don't really see the need to do a whole lot of trading in that zone, because we have never we've done far more trading above it than we have in it, you know, and like I said, on the way down, we just zipped right through it. On the way down here, we zipped right through it, and then we zipped right back up through it. So I don't see us spending much time there at all. As far as today, we closed today 1 cent higher than we, or I'm sorry, 1 cent, 2 cents lower than we were on the candle here on Wednesday. And then on the, if you go to the hourly chart here, this little move at the end of the day, this absolutely beautiful move, put us 1 cent higher than the top of the candle, the first hourly candle of the day. So we closed above the high of the morning, which was the high of the day until we set the new high of the day at the end there. And one thing I want to point out, first of all, this is the stupidest, most ridiculous little triangle I have ever seen on a chart. It is so stupidly perfect. Not so much the top, but the bottom was so stupidly perfect. It was 50 cents lower high every single hour, right around 50 cents. Low of 44.88, 45.36, which is 48 cents higher, 45.86, which is 50 cents higher, 46.30, which is 44 cents higher. I mean, it's just, it was, and then the next candle 46.77, which was 47 cents higher. It's stupid. But then this breakout, I love to see this breakout because we've seen this sort of trading in this area back and forth for a few hours, and then it's broken back down. Same thing here, back and forth a few hours, broke down. See this break up like that right at the end of the day is absolutely wonderful, and I'm looking forward to it going into tomorrow. I think we really would love to hold this $47, but I'm just being realistic and saying that we may not. I think we should probably at this point, as long as we don't get hard rejection first thing in the morning. If this thing doesn't reject hard first thing in the morning, it's running. It's gonna run. It's not gonna consolidate above recent highs, you know, like it's not going to consolidate right above that level. It is going to either get rejected, probably down to the 44.5 to 45 range. If it does get rejected, I'd like to see it hold on to 46, but realistically there is a gap down here, 44.5 to 45. But if it doesn't get rejected, it's just gonna rip probably up to the mid 50s, if not higher. And the last thing I wanted to point out here is it's in a wicked upward channel. I mean, ever since we used this support became resistance, but we've been in this channel for quite some time. And as long as we stay, you know, like I said, within this trend, which is that mid 40s or higher, we're good to go. You know, a few more days, we're good to go. So that's all that's all I've got for AMC. The one other stock I wanted to talk about, and most of you a lot of you probably familiar with this, especially if you're a fan of Trey. He talks about this stock a lot. MVIS. I think MVIS is just about ready to start moving pretty good. It's been a lot of sideways trading for quite some time, but like this is in the same growth sector that AMC moves with. You know, it's in the small cap sector, whatever you want to call it, and that sector is beginning to turn around. And this was one of the very popular stocks back in that time. You see how much it ran back end of 2020 into 2021, and it's actually held up pretty well considering some of the damage these other stocks have taken. I mean, it's held on to $12 for months. So it's trading at $14.26 right now. I think it's making a case for a turnaround. The RSI has turned around. I think it's making a case for starting to break out here of this wedge that it's got going on. depending on how you draw the line, it's already broken out. If you want to draw it wick to wick, you know, you got a little ways to go, but that's a long wick, and that's a, you know, a lonely wick way up there. But, you know, I think we're looking at, also, you know, it just had a little bit of news. That's one of the reasons why I'm talking about it here today. They tweeted out a few days ago, they are beginning their level 3 ADAS testing. And if you're not familiar with what the ADAS testing is, it's basically, it's the advanced driving assistance system. And there are different levels to how advanced the system is. And to put it in perspective, Teslas are level 2. There's 0 through 5, and Teslas are level 2. And Microvision is beginning level 3 testing, which is essentially, it was going to allow the car to drive in itself in certain scenarios, like a traffic jam was one of the examples that was used. It can stop and go for you while you do whatever you want, and then it'll let you know, like, when the traffic jam's over, it pick up speed, you know, tells you, okay, you start paying attention, we're moving again. But, you know, whereas right now it doesn't do any automatic driving. You know, they are driving assistance, solely assistance right now, these level 2s. But the level 3 is moving more into the drive for you completely in certain situations. Now, I don't know a timeline on how long this testing is going to take place, but this is pretty far ahead of schedule of their original estimate. And I would imagine this is a scenario where it's kind of like you test it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You got to make some fixes. Whatever, you know. But I can't imagine that it's going to be too terribly long before they come out with some updates on how this testing is going. Now, one last thing I want to talk about Microvision. Just like all the stocks in this sector, it is also a very heavily shorted stock. I mean, if the short interest is 18%, that's still very high. I mean, I think some of us are spoiled with some of the crazy short interest numbers we've seen on some stocks as of late, but 18% is extremely high. 30 million, just about 30 million short interest. The days to cover on this, the days to cover 3-month average volume is currently sitting at 4.2. The days to cover of the average volume over the last 2 weeks is 8.4 days. So they had I think the earnings back here. They had them back here on the 5th, and I believe they had a EPS miss, but a revenue beat, and stock went on quite a run. And as you can see by the Ortex information over here, right about then is where the short interest dropped quite a bit. Excuse me. And it dropped right here, this yellow line. It dropped a little bit coming into those earnings, after that little run up, after those earnings, I should say. But then it went right back up after that run up. When it came, you know, when the price came back down, they shorted. So the short interest is every spike you see here, they just short it right back down, or, you know, there's probably some profit taking also, but you're starting to see these spikes. So, you know, you got a volume spike, the volume started to pick up here. You know, you had these huge volume spikes back here. The volume is starting to trend back up. And like I said, this was an extremely popular stock among retail back in the day, and it I believe has a very bright future ahead of it. Like I said, it's a leader in this LiDAR technology, this ADAS, you know, augmented reality sort of stuff, and they're ahead of the game for the most part, and that can lead to nothing but good things with them. So that's all I've got for this video. MVIS, check it out, see what you think, and let me know what you decided to do there. And I will catch you guys in the next video.